Hey guys, Spirit of the Law here. In this video, we're going to be taking a quick look at the Hindustani's new unique unit, the Ghulam. Remember, the Hindustanis are the reworked version of what used to be the Indians, and part of the whole DLC expansion restructuring has been to take the elephant archer from the Indians and make it a regional unit. That means Hindustanis of course need a new unique unit, and it's ended up being this spear infantry. Now you might be thinking, what does a civilization with faster attacking camel riders, the imperial camel, and halberdiers need with yet another anti-cavalry option? If that's the mindset you have going into this, then get ready to throw out everything you think you know about spear units, because this one is actually weak to cavalry. So how does that work? Let's start with their stats in Castle Age. Here I have a few different units for comparison, and if we look at the pikemen, you can see it's not really a match. The Ghulam has significantly more attack, pierce armor, and even HP, so it really doesn't pass the eye test. The long swordsman is in fact a lot closer. The Ghulam's higher pierce armor stands out, but other than that, the two units seem roughly in line with one another. Of course, the king of high pierce armor in Castle Age is the Huskarl, which retains its throne, and while you can see the Ghulam has good pierce armor, it's not quite on the same level. At a glance, I think it's fair to say the unit is partway between a long swordsman and Huskarl, and its cost is also in line with those two units, in that 75 to 80 resource range, albeit with a higher gold cost. In terms of upgrades, it's about what you'd expect for an infantry unit, with barracks, blacksmith infantry techs, and its elite upgrade at the castle. The elite upgrade actually doubles its base pierce armor from 3 to 6, getting pretty close to the elite Huskarl's 8 base pierce armor, so especially in the late game, it's going to be quite resistant to arrows. In fact, they'd have the same 10 pierce armor as the elite Huskarl, if not for lacking the final armor upgrade. They also have a 12-second creation time, which is pretty standard for infantry at the castle. So far, we seem to have an infantry that's very sturdy against range units, which would be a reasonable identity on its own, but the unit also has an extra twist. They have the unique ability of being able to attack through enemy units. Now, we've seen something like this before with the Kamayuk, though the Kamayuk stats show extra range, whereas the Ghulam doesn't. So how do they compare? In this test, I have both attacking the first unit in the line, and interestingly, you can see the Ghulam is doing full damage to its target and half damage to the unit behind it, whereas the Kamayuk is only attacking the unit in front. In contrast, if I have them both attack the second unit in the line, the Kamayuk can reach over the first to hit it, whereas the Ghulam has to run around and be right next to it. You can see that while they kind of get at the same thing of having extra reach, they're doing it in very different ways. The Kamayuk's ability seems better with multiple rows, where you can get more units involved to gang up on single targets, whereas the Ghulam has just the front row of units attacking, but is able to hit multiple rows of enemies at once. Is one of these abilities necessarily better than the other though? For what it's worth, in a direct fight with equal total resources, the outcome is effectively a draw. That's a pretty satisfying result, as it fits nicely with the narrative that it's sort of doing the same thing in a different way. But as we'll see later, I think the Kamayuk's ability actually holds it better against mass infantry. But now let's consider what role they're designed to fill, and I think a revealing way to do that is to look at their bonus damage. It turns out they don't take bonus damage from very much, except units like the hand cannoneer, since the Ghulam is, after all, infantry. Flipping things around, you can see they have a bonus against archers, but no bonus against either infantry or, notably, cavalry. In this case, that makes them feel again closer to the Huskarl than the Kamayuk, and in fact the more I use the unit, the more it feels like a blend between the two, though closer to a Huskarl. One last hidden feature about the unit is that it also has very good speed, nearly on the same level as the Gabetto. I suspect that's another way to try to give them a leg up on archers, and after squires they start to even leave plumed archers in the dust. So to put it all together, what exactly is the role of this unit? Hindustanis no longer have the tanky elephant archer, they weren't given battle elephant, and they also have no heavy cavalry. So some common tools that other civilizations use to soak up archer fire is missing from the Civ. With the Ghulam, they have an extra deterrent for an opponent spamming nothing but archers, as between their speed, pierce armor, bonus damage, and even their pass-through attack, they cut through archers in a way that looks an awful lot like Huskarls. Initially, I expected the pass-through damage would make them effective against mass infantry as well, as unlike Eagle Warriors, who Ghulam shares some similarities with, they don't take bonus damage from champions. Still, with equal resources, even champions without supplies come out looking very strong, with a much lower gold investment. Of course, they can handle halberdiers, which isn't saying very much, as that's basically an anti-cavalry specialist. If their pass-through damage made it seem like they'd be strong against everything, then consider even Hussars get sort of close with equal numbers to handling them in melee. And of course, fully upgraded paladins, even outnumbered almost 2 to 1 to balance resources, come out in decent shape. It seems cavalry don't need a bonus to be a good counter, as the tooltip suggests. So there you have it. They're an anti-archer unit with an interesting, but ultimately, in my opinion, a bit of an underwhelming secondary ability. I hope this unit gets a lot more use than the Indians' Elephant Archer used to, and I'm curious to see especially how Mayan players are going to try to answer it. That's all for this one though. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.